So Hogwarts Legacy will let us expand our companions' abilities, give us access to the Transmog system early on, and there's lots more gameplay info coming through the official channels. Also a finalized look at the system requirements, including the 4K 60 FPS mode, and a big info dump of the new professors and characters that we will get to meet. So let's dive right in with all of the info, and if you enjoyed this video at any point, a thumbs up on it would definitely be awesome. Let's get started with the ceremony of the sorting hat, which just got a big teaser of how that will look like in game, and it seems that we'll get additional chances to go back on our initial choices. According to the FAQ update on the main Harry Potter website, while our sorted Hogwarts house will be our default choice in game, we can still choose to modify our selection before the end of that ceremony. So it sounds like we will get an initial decision probably at the start of the ceremony, but in the case we have a change of heart at the very last second, we can still go back on that decision, but only as long as the ceremony hasn't ended yet. At the same time, through the same website, we learned that there won't be a Patronus mechanic in-game after all, as these won't carry over from the fan account linking that you might have done a while ago. And that was a rumor that already existed before, but at least now we have official confirmation that they won't make it indeed in the final game. And honestly, I'm not too mad about it either, because mine was of a salmon for some reason. I'm not sure what that was all about, but let me know down below what the website chose for you. Speaking of the Harry Potter fan club rewards, we got a great breakdown of exactly how you can find these in game once you've unlocked them, including a big tease to a Transmog system. So the Beaked Skull Mask and House Fanatic Robe will be in our inventories on our first day at Hogwarts, just after completing the game's prologue, where we also receive the field guide. That's because we need the field guide by entering the pause menu to access the gear screen and then pick the desired appearance from the cloaks and robes section in the case of the Fanatic Robe. Meanwhile, for the Beaked Mask, this can be found in the face wear slot. More exciting though to me is that not only does this confirm that we do get a Transmog system, we actually also get it very early on. From the looks of it, it's also as easy as the press of a button, simply by changing the appearance of these items, which has a dedicated button that we can also change with any of the skins that we might have unlocked throughout the game. Of course, to get the robe and the Beaked Mask, you do have to link to a Harry Potter fan club account, which I think is totally worth it, and you should definitely go ahead and do that on the main Harry Potter website. Now, another significant piece of detail we learned is that companions are a lot more useful than we initially thought, and not just NPCs we carry with us in our journeys. We know some of the students at Hogwarts can become our friends, but according to the recent FAQ update, we can grow these relationships forward, expand their abilities, and even open up new stories about them. And especially that part about expanding their abilities sounds really enticing to me, and already makes me think of how we can expand Atreus's or Freya's skill trees in God of War Ragnarok as we progress through that game. This means making sure we befriend all of these characters is even more important than we initially thought, as they can become a lot more useful as we do stuff for them. Obviously, I'm more curious about opening up their stories, because this implies they give side quests of their own. And where there are side quests, usually there are also cool encounters, possibly even some mini bosses, and especially so items that we might not get otherwise. Let me know what you think about this down below, because to me it sounds super exciting. On a similar note, we got a few more hints via the difficulty options entry, and we know that there's 4 difficulties that we can choose right from the creation screen, but now there's official confirmation that they will affect both combat as well as puzzle solving. For example, at story difficulty, which is the lowest of them all, spell learning minigames requiring precise movements can no longer fail. Meanwhile, puzzles will not be time sensitive. Of course, these difficulties can be changed at any time during normal gameplay. But to me, this confirms 2 more things: that A, some spells get learned through mini games that might require a bit of skill and might be a bit challenging depending on which difficulty you play on, and B, puzzles will have a time limit to complete, otherwise I would assume they will fail. And finally, maybe a bit of a bad news for some, but it seems that the minimap is always going to be on display, but objective guidance on the ground will create a trail that is visible while our characters are on foot. A nice detail to know because we only saw the trail on the minimap in some of the flying videos and not in the actual front of us. But let's keep on going to the system requirements, as the game will have a pretty hefty install size and it requires at least 85 gigs of storage or SSD if you want to install it. But a 4K Ultra 60 FPS mode is indeed supported and confirmed, though be ready with some pretty high-end hardware, as the minimum is a 3090 or equivalent, as well as like 32 gigs of RAM. We have the same RAM requirement for the 1440p one, but in this case you can make do with a 20 series GPU or equivalent from AMD. And if you go to 1080p, then 16 gigs of RAM is enough and the 10 series GPU works just as well. Here's also a look at the minimum system requirements for those interested. They aren't as bad as I thought initially, and you can still make do with like a Core i5 or Ryzen 5 CPU and a pretty old by now 4GB GPU. Though in this last case, good to note is that you will be targeting low quality settings and only a 720p 30 FPS resolution. Anyway, we got a big info drop on new characters and their voice actors, with a few reveals that shocked me a little bit, like in the case of the voice actor for Sebastian, which is also the voice actor for our characters. We actually got both the character reveals, or well, the voice reveals for the two voices that we can choose for our characters, and obviously in the menu we can choose like the pitch and the tone and change it a little bit, which makes it a bit more unique. Probably the most important reveal are that of Phineas Black, the school's headmaster, and Matilda Weasley, our transfiguration teacher. But Phineas Black, also voiced by none other than Simon Pegg, was the last Slytherin headmaster of Hogwarts before Professor Snape took the job. In fact, he is confirmed to be none other than Bellatrix Lestrange's great-great-grandfather. Because of his utter disdain for his own students and his vain, unjustifiable, superior attitude, he remains the least popular headmaster to have ever led Hogwarts. He's widely ill-suited for his job, and his goals are to just focus on his status in the wizarding world and to do the least amount of work possible. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like this guy for some reason. He's pretty much in complete antithesis with Matilda Weasley, our exceptionally talented transfiguration professor. Her background is that she worked as a curse breaker for the Ministry of Magic, known for her composure and extraordinary wand work. Professor Weasley has been tasked with getting the player up to speed in their study, and she is the one that introduces us to the wizard fielding guide as well as the room of requirement. So it seems that we're gonna spend quite a bit of time in the early stages with her in particular, and she's gonna be the main source of many of the features that we get to unlock early on. We of course got other characters confirmed in there, including Professor Onai, that will teach us the divination class, and the voice actress for our astronomy professor, just to name a few. Looks so far very exciting. If you want to stay up to date with more like Hogwarts Legacy related stuff, totally make sure you sub to the channel, maybe even leave a like on this video or like comment down below. I'm also doing a giveaway if you want to take part in that, and you can find some of the links down below or in the pinned comment. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.